1. Improvement never happens by accident. It is always the result of a conscious decision to grow, even when growth feels uncomfortable. Most people wait for motivation, inspiration, or perfect timing, but winners understand that progress begins the moment you force yourself to act despite resistance. Your mind will often choose comfort over change, but your future is built by the actions you take when comfort is no longer your priority. Forcing yourself to improve means choosing discipline over excuses, action over fear, and responsibility over blame. It is the moment you stop asking life to be easy and start training yourself to be strong. 2. The human mind is naturally wired to seek safety and familiarity, which is why staying the same feels easier than becoming better. But comfort is a silent enemy of growth. When you force yourself to step outside your routine, challenge your limits, and confront your weaknesses, you begin to reprogram your brain for progress. Each uncomfortable action sends a message to your nervous system: I am capable of more. Over time, this message becomes belief, and belief becomes identity. 3. Improvement requires brutal honesty with yourself. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. A winning mind looks at its habits, thoughts, and behaviors without excuses or self-deception. It asks, where am I falling short? Where am I wasting time? Where am I avoiding responsibility? This level of self-awareness may be painful, but it is also freeing, because once you see the truth, you can finally begin to build a better version of yourself. 4. Forcing yourself to improve does not mean being harsh or cruel to yourself. It means holding yourself to a higher standard. It means choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. It means waking up early when your body wants to sleep, staying focused when your mind wants distraction, and continuing when your emotions want to quit. This inner battle, fought daily, is what shapes character and builds unshakable confidence. 5. Consistency is the true measure of commitment. Anyone can work hard for a day, feel motivated for a week, or dream big for a moment. But forcing yourself to improve means showing up even when progress feels slow and results are invisible. It is the quiet discipline of repeating small, positive actions until they become part of who you are. Over time, these small actions compound into extraordinary transformation. 6. Growth often feels lonely because it separates you from the version of yourself that was comfortable with mediocrity. When you raise your standards, some habits, some relationships, and some old ways of thinking will no longer fit your new direction. A strong mind understands that not everyone will grow with you, and that is okay. Your responsibility is not to stay the same for others' comfort, but to become better for your own potential. 7. The pain of self-discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret can last a lifetime. A trained mind remembers this when temptation appears. It remembers the future it is building and the person it is becoming. By choosing effort today, you save yourself from disappointment tomorrow. This ability to think long-term is one of the most powerful signs of mental maturity. 8. Forcing yourself to improve also means learning to control your inner dialogue. The voice in your head can either be your greatest ally or your strongest enemy. When it says, "This is too hard," you respond, "That is exactly why it will make me stronger." When it says, "I am tired," you answer, "Rest if you must, but do not quit." This internal conversation shapes your reality more than any external circumstance. 9. Every day offers a choice. Repeat the same patterns or take one small step toward growth. The winning mind chooses progress, even if it is slow. It understands that transformation is not about giant leaps, but about steady forward movement. One disciplined decision, repeated daily, can completely change the direction of a life. 10. Ultimately, forcing yourself to improve is an act of self-respect. It is the decision to honor your potential, your time, and your future. When you stop settling for who you are and start working for who you can become, you begin a journey that leads not only to success, but to deep inner strength and personal pride. 11. Forcing yourself to improve means learning to become uncomfortable with being average. It means waking up every day with the awareness that your current level is not your final level, that your present habits are not your permanent identity, and that your limitations are not fixed unless you decide to keep them. Most people wait for life to push them into change, but those who truly grow push themselves before life is forced to do it through pain, failure, or regret. When you voluntarily choose discipline, struggle becomes training instead of punishment, and effort becomes an investment instead of a burden. 12. The mind will always try to protect you from effort, from risk, and from uncertainty, because its primary job is survival, not greatness. That is why it whispers excuses, creates doubts, and magnifies fear. But improvement begins the moment you stop obeying every thought and start commanding your actions. You learn that just because your mind says stop does not mean your potential has reached its limit. It only means your comfort zone has. And every time you move beyond that zone, you expand the boundaries of who you can become. 13. Growth demands structure. A life without routine is a life ruled by mood, and moods are unreliable leaders. When you force yourself to follow a schedule, to train when it is hard, to study when it is boring, and to stay consistent when no one is watching, you are teaching your brain the language of discipline. Over time, discipline turns into identity, and identity turns into destiny. You stop being someone who tries and become someone who does. 14. Improvement also requires learning to delay gratification in a world that sells instant pleasure. The ability to say no to distractions today for the sake of a stronger tomorrow is a mental muscle, and like any muscle, it grows through resistance. Each time you resist the easy path and choose the demanding one, your self-control becomes stronger, your focus becomes sharper, and your confidence becomes deeper. You start trusting yourself, and that self-trust becomes a powerful source of inner strength. 15. Forcing yourself to improve means confronting your own excuses without mercy but with wisdom. You stop blaming time, circumstances, or other people, and you start taking full ownership of your results. Responsibility is heavy, but it is also liberating, because it puts your future back in your hands. When you accept that your growth is your duty, not someone else's job, you unlock a level of personal power that cannot be taken away. 16. The process of self-improvement reshapes your emotional world. You learn to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it, to face frustration instead of numbing it, and to transform pressure into purpose. This emotional resilience allows you to stay steady when life becomes uncertain. Instead of collapsing under stress, you become the kind of person who rises because of it. 17. Every new level of growth demands a new level of thinking. Old beliefs that once protected you may now be limiting you. A winning mind questions its own assumptions and is willing to let go of identities that no longer serve its future. This mental flexibility allows transformation to happen not just on the surface, but at the core of who you are. 18. Improvement is not a single decision, it is a daily recommitment. Some days you will feel strong, focused, and inspired. Other days you will feel tired, distracted, and doubtful. A disciplined mind does not wait for perfect emotional conditions. It acts in alignment with its goals regardless of mood. This ability to move forward even when you do not feel like it is what separates dreamers from achievers. 19. As you force yourself to improve, your standards rise. You become less tolerant of wasted time, negative thinking, and self-sabotaging habits. You begin to protect your energy, your focus, and your vision. This selective discipline creates an environment where growth becomes natural and decline becomes uncomfortable. 20. Ultimately, the journey of self-improvement is the journey of becoming the strongest version of yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It is about building a mind that does not break under pressure, a heart that does not quit under disappointment, and a will that does not surrender to fear. When you force yourself to improve, you are not punishing yourself, you are preparing yourself for a life of confidence, purpose, and inner victory. 21. Forcing yourself to improve means accepting that the road to your best self will not always feel exciting or rewarding in the beginning. Many days will feel repetitive, slow, and even meaningless. You may work hard and still see little progress. But a trained mind understands the law of delayed results. Just like physical training reshapes the body only after weeks of consistent effort, mental and personal growth reshapes your character only after long periods of disciplined practice. Every focused hour, every resisted temptation, every small act of courage is silently building a stronger future version of you, even when the mirror of life shows no immediate change. 22. One of the greatest acts of self-improvement is learning to become comfortable with solitude. Growth often requires stepping away from noise, from unnecessary conversations, and from the constant need for validation. In silence, you confront your true thoughts, your fears, and your unfulfilled potential. This is where clarity is born. A mind that can stand alone becomes independent, confident, and internally strong. It no longer needs approval to move forward because it is guided by purpose, not popularity. 23. When you force yourself to improve, you begin to see time as your most valuable resource. You stop wasting hours on distractions that do not serve your future. You become more intentional with your days, your routines, and your goals. This awareness creates urgency, not panic, but a deep respect for the present moment. You understand that every disciplined day is a brick in the foundation of the life you are building. 24. Growth also requires learning to forgive yourself while refusing to lower your standards. You will make mistakes. You will fall short. You will sometimes return to old habits. A weak mind uses these moments as excuses to quit. A strong mind uses them as reminders to recommit. It says, I may have slipped, but I am not done. This balance between compassion and accountability is what creates sustainable improvement instead of self-destruction. 25. As you push yourself forward, you will notice resistance from within and sometimes from others. People may not understand your discipline, your routines, or your desire to change. Some may even feel uncomfortable with your growth because it reminds them of what they are avoiding. A trained mind does not seek permission to evolve. It respects others but remains loyal to its own path. True improvement often requires the courage to walk alone before you can lead others. 26. The mind that improves learns to think in terms of progress, not perfection. Perfection creates fear of failure, but progress creates momentum. Every small win builds confidence. Every step forward, no matter how slow, is proof that you are moving in the right direction. This focus on progress keeps you motivated, grounded, and emotionally balanced. 27. Discipline begins to shape your identity in powerful ways. You start seeing yourself as someone who keeps promises, who shows up, who does the work even when it is hard. This self-image becomes a source of deep inner pride. You no longer need external motivation because your identity itself pushes you forward. You act in alignment with who you believe you are. 28. Forcing yourself to improve also means learning to manage your energy, not just your time. You become aware of what drains you and what strengthens you, physically, emotionally, and mentally. You choose healthier habits, better thoughts, and more meaningful goals. This creates a cycle where improvement feeds more improvement. 29. The process of growth slowly removes fear of failure and replaces it with respect for effort. You stop being afraid of trying, because you know that even if you fail, you will learn. This mindset turns every experience into training and every challenge into preparation. 30. Ultimately, forcing yourself to improve is about building a relationship with your future self. Every disciplined choice is a gift to the person you are becoming. Every moment of effort is a message that says, I believe in you. I am preparing the way for you. This deep sense of responsibility toward your own potential becomes a powerful source of motivation and inner strength. Point 31. Forcing yourself to improve means developing the courage to face your own weaknesses without running away. Most people hide from their flaws, distract themselves from their fears, and escape into comfort whenever reality becomes uncomfortable. But real growth begins when you sit with your limitations and decide that they will not define your future. You stop saying, "This is just how I am," and start saying, "This is what I must outgrow." This shift in mindset is the birth of transformation. It is the moment you stop being a victim of your past and start becoming the architect of your future. 32. A disciplined mind understands that progress is not always visible, but it is always happening. There will be seasons when you feel like you are working hard and moving nowhere, like your effort is disappearing into silence. These are the seasons that test your faith in yourself. The person who keeps going in these invisible phases builds a level of inner strength that cannot be shaken later when success finally becomes visible. This is where true confidence is born, not from applause, but from perseverance and silence. 33. Improvement requires the ability to delay emotional comfort in exchange for long-term fulfillment. The mind wants pleasure now, rest now, validation now. But the future you want demands effort now, sacrifice now, discipline now. When you force yourself to choose what is right over what is easy, you begin to train your brain to value growth more than comfort. This mental rewiring changes the direction of your life. 34. The journey of self-improvement teaches you to become your own leader. You stop waiting for someone to push you, motivate you, or believe in you. You become the voice that commands action when laziness whispers excuses. You become the standard that your behavior must rise to. This inner leadership creates independence, confidence, and unbreakable self-respect. 35. As you grow, your tolerance for mediocrity decreases. You become more sensitive to wasted time, careless thinking, and self-sabotaging habits. This is not negativity, it is awareness. You begin to feel uncomfortable when you are not progressing, when you are not learning, when you are not moving forward. This healthy discomfort becomes a powerful engine of continuous improvement. 36. Forcing yourself to improve also means learning how to stay mentally strong when results are slow. Patience becomes your shield against frustration. You understand that great transformations are built through thousands of small, disciplined decisions. Each one may seem insignificant, but together they form the foundation of extraordinary change. 37. The more you train your mind, the more you realize that confidence is not a feeling, it is a result. It is built through action, through preparation, through showing up even when doubt is loud. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-belief grows. And when self-belief grows, fear begins to lose its power. 38. Growth reshapes your identity. You start to see yourself as someone who does not quit, who does not settle, who does not run from difficulty. This identity becomes a source of inner pride. You are no longer chasing motivation, you are living from commitment. Your actions reflect your values, and your values guide your future. 39. Forcing yourself to improve teaches you emotional maturity. You learn that life will not always be fair, that effort will not always be rewarded immediately, and that rejection is part of the path. Instead of becoming bitter, you become stronger. Instead of giving up, you become wiser. This emotional resilience allows you to stay steady in uncertainty and powerful under pressure. 40. Ultimately, the discipline to improve is an act of deep self-love. It is the decision to not abandon your potential, to not betray your future, and to not waste the gift of your abilities. When you choose growth again and again, even when it is hard, you are telling yourself, my future matters. My dreams matter. I matter. 41. Forcing yourself to improve means making peace with the fact that the journey will demand patience, endurance, and faith in results you cannot yet see. There will be days when your effort feels invisible, when your discipline feels unnoticed, and when your progress feels too small to matter. But a trained mind understands that transformation is happening beneath the surface, like roots growing in silence before a tree breaks through the ground. The person who continues to water those unseen roots with consistency and belief will one day stand tall, strong, and unshakable in the light of visible success. 42. As you continue to grow, you will notice a shift in how you view challenges. What once felt overwhelming now feels manageable. What once created fear now creates focus. This is the quiet proof that your mind has become stronger. You no longer panic at obstacles, you analyze them. You no longer collapse under pressure, you rise with clarity. This is the reward of mental training, the ability to remain calm, confident, and decisive when it matters most. 43. True self-improvement teaches you to stop comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. A winning mind respects its own timeline and understands that every person's journey is unique. Instead of wasting energy on envy or self-doubt, you invest it in your own growth. This creates inner peace and steady progress, both of which are essential for long-term success. 44. The discipline you build today becomes the freedom you enjoy tomorrow. Each habit you strengthen, each weakness you overcome, and each fear you confront expands your range of choice. You are no longer controlled by impulses, circumstances, or other people's opinions. You become the driver of your own life, moving with purpose instead of being pushed by pressure. 45. Improvement deepens your relationship with yourself. You learn to trust your word, respect your effort, and value your time. This self-respect becomes a powerful foundation for confidence. You walk differently, speak differently, and think differently, not because you are trying to impress, but because you know who you are becoming. 46. Growth also brings a new understanding of failure. You stop seeing it as proof of weakness and start seeing it as proof of effort. Every setback becomes a lesson, every mistake becomes information, and every loss becomes a stepping stone. This perspective removes the fear of trying and replaces it with the courage to keep moving forward. 47. Forcing yourself to improve means choosing to live with intention instead of drifting through life. You set clear goals, define your values, and align your actions with your vision. This clarity creates direction, and direction creates momentum. You are no longer reacting to life, you are creating it. 48. Over time, your mental strength becomes your greatest asset. When others panic, you stay composed. When others quit, you persist. When others doubt, you believe. This inner stability allows you to lead yourself and, eventually, inspire others by example. 49. The journey of self-improvement is ultimately the journey of becoming whole. You integrate discipline with compassion, ambition with gratitude, and strength with humility. You grow not only in achievement, but in character. This balance creates a life that is not only successful, but deeply meaningful. 50. In the end, forcing yourself to improve is a promise you make to your future. It is the commitment to not settle for the life you have when you know you are capable of more. It is the decision to rise every day with purpose, to face challenges with courage, and to keep moving forward with faith in your own potential. When you honor this promise, you do not just change your circumstances, you transform your identity, and in doing so, you create a life that reflects the strength of the mind you have trained.